Choose to not be offended and how that applies to your house cleaning business. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's show is brought to us by House Call Pro. They have paid for us to bring you these free tips. So thank you, House Call Pro. It is an app that goes on your phone and your computer, and it runs in the background of your business, and it keeps track of all of your scheduling and your appointments and your customers and your CRM and your job upsells and the detail changes and your invoices and your credit card processing and all that stuff. So imagine a little helper that runs in the background of your business that saves you hours a week. Check it out at housecallpro.com/Angela. All right, on to today's show. We are in an era of miscommunication, and that is the nicest way I know how to say it. I was watching TV yesterday, and there was a very prominent woman that came on, and she was just offended because everyone seemed that she wasn't important and she seemed invisible to them. And I sat there saying, oh, girlfriend, it's not you. It's the entire world that we live in. We're all married to our cell phones, and we have earbuds in our ears. And worse than that, the new era provides us with face masks so that we can now cover half of our faces. So not only can you not see us, but you can't read our lips, right? So it's not that you're invisible, it's just that we have annihilated the human element from our society. Now, as house cleaners, we get really offended when customers judge our work. And we're like, how dare they? And I hear it all the time. Angry house cleaners. But guess what, guys? Choose to not be offended because the customers are coming from a completely different place. I have 3 stories that I want to illustrate very quickly so that you can understand the nuances of the communication that we're in today. The other day, I was with some folks and there was a breakout, and it was kind of a little bit of a fight or a rift, if you will. There were 2 gentlemen having a conversation on the tarmac at the airport. And one of them started yelling at the other one and flailing his arms, and it broke out into this huge, ginormous fight. When we got inside, the man is like, you disrespected me and whatever. And the other guy's like, no, I was trying to communicate with you. And then they looked to me as if I would solve the debate. And I said, well, in all due respect, you are out on the tarmac at the airport and planes are coming and going and it's about 140 decibels out there. Not to mention that you both were wearing earplugs and both of you are wearing face masks, and you asked him a question. And so over the echo of the engines of the airplane and the earplugs and the face mask, in order to be communicating and understood, he was using hand gestures that were big to take up the space and to get his point across. And so I completely understand why he did what he did, but I don't think he was angry. I think he was trying to communicate with you. All right, scenario number 2. There's a girl that comes to me for consulting, and she runs a very professional house cleaning company, and she's very successful. But the other day she got in a huge rift, if you will, with a customer and got really bent out of shape because the customer does not understand her. And the girl that I was speaking to has been through years of therapy, okay? So she has worked through these issues. And how dare this customer not understand her issues? Well, whoa, wait a second. Just because you've gone through years of therapy doesn't mean that the customer understands the same things the same way that you do. And so I understand that you're upset that you weren't understood the way that you communicate. But the truth is, because you've gone through years of therapy doesn't mean she has too. We don't know what the customer knows. And so while the customer said something, the customer is the one that writes the paycheck. And so if she had qualms, or if she had questions, or if she had opinions, that's her right to that, right? So before we just jump out of our skin and we get all upset and whatever, I would like for us to choose not to be offended. Now, another scenario, I run a private Facebook group, and it's for cleaning business owners. And there was a fight that broke out the other day between 2 business owners. One is a business owner of about a month and comes from a corporate background. And the other one is a cleaning business owner of about 16 years. And so they went to task with each other and they started attacking each other. And one woman is like, you don't know me. Okay, you're right. You don't know each other because you're new friends here in this group on Facebook. You don't know each other. Okay, so that is a fact. The second fact is one of you is basing your information on your month in the business. The other one of you is basing your information based on 16 years in the business. So the one with the month experience has a whole month worth of experience. And so what she's seeing is through a filter that comes from a corporate background, maybe a homeowner who hired a house cleaner, and now a month of being a house cleaner herself. That is the filter in which she sees this debate. The other person is based on 16 years of being in the house cleaning industry and going out and negotiating and navigating contracts and customers' homes and all these things. Two completely different reference points. And so in all fairness, standing back, they're both actually correct in their assessments. It's just that they're two completely different viewpoints. So my suggestion is, please choose to not be offended. You have a choice. And right now we live in an era where everyone is so hyper aware of each other. And we are aware of that person didn't look at me, that person didn't talk to me, that person didn't treat me the way I wanted to be treated. Well, guess what? We live in an era where people are glued to their phones. They have earbuds in their ears. They have face masks on their faces. We have completely erased the whole entire human element of interaction. Back in the days when I grew up, and I grew up way back when, we had front porches, and people sat on their front porches and they shared a cup of tea with the neighbors, and they chatted for hours, and we picked up the phone and we had real conversations with people. And then we met people out in the street, and we'd wander out there to pick up our mail, and we'd chit-chat with the neighbors, and there was a lot of face-to-face interaction, lots of conversations, lots of real face-to-face. We'd say, hey, why don't you guys come over for dinner tonight? And we'd hang out, right? We had friends over, and friends would come over and we'd play. We'd ride bicycles together, and we'd tell stories and hang out and visit and things. But a lot of that is gone. A lot of that has moved to a social media era where we can have conversations with people online while we are behind the privacy wall of our own home. No one knows what we look like. They don't know what we sound like. They don't know who we really are. And it's easy to just attack people going, you don't know me. You don't know my story. They don't. They really don't. And as house cleaners, when we go to a customer's home and the customer spats something, or they get excited, or they complain at us, or they point something out, it's not because they're angry with us. It's not because they hate us. It's because they've paid money and they want something in value for exchange, right? And so I want for us to choose to not be offended, because moving forward, every single interaction, whether it's a customer or a prospect or an employee, it affects the way that we feel and the way that we do our jobs if we choose to be offended. Because if we are offended, we are going to carry this huge, ginormous chip on our shoulder and think that the world is not fair and we are a victim and life is bad and all these things. Well, guess what? Life is tough enough without you just punishing yourself with all this hate and anxiety, right? So my suggestion to you is to choose to not be offended. Somebody says something like the guys out at the airport, just say, hey, wait a second, all things considered, he's trying to communicate with me. With the woman who was communicating with the house cleaner. It's not because she didn't understand the years of therapy. It's because she was coming from a different place. Hey, I paid this money. I expect something specific to happen here. It has nothing to do with how you interpret the situation. It has everything to do with the money I paid and what I get in exchange. And as far as the Facebook groups go, please, if you're going to go into a public forum, before you just start spouting things off, understand other people have a really tough life. There's lots of stuff that happens on the other end to the people that we're talking to. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know the hardships that they've been through. We don't know what's keeping them going. Maybe they showed up to this group because this was their last moment of hope. Maybe they came to be inspired, not to get in a fight and have somebody, say bad things to them. We don't know. So my encouragement is, let's choose to not be offended as we move forward, because your business depends on it and your friendships depend on it. In fact, I think the world depends on it. I really do. Alrighty, if you found this helpful, please pass it on to a friend. If we've earned your subscription, please subscribe. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.